is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, sponsored by Alive Credit Union.
Welcome back to the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 studio. Welcome back to Fleet and Footy, presented by Alive Credit Union, by the way. I'm your host, Llerandi, and today's show is a special one. Joining me in studio is a defender midfielder who's tough in the tackle. She's proud to represent the 904, and back for her second season with the Jacksonville Armada U23 women's squad. It's Liz Anne Fogarty right here in studio. Liz Anne, welcome back.
Thanks, Lewis. Thanks for having me.
Well, I know I've been excited to get this roster dropped, but I want to talk about your personal career a little bit first before we get into the more exciting things. Casey, can you drop that first pick? Because this is what I've been excited to drop the entire show. You kind of had an interesting sports career in high school. You're from the North Florida area.
My headshot.
But, kicker on the soccer field, but also kicker on the football field. Can you dabble on this a little bit?
Yes. Honestly, this is one of my favorite experiences just from being in Jacksonville and just going to Clay High School is my opportunity to kick with the football team. And I started out, it's actually hilarious because I was playing soccer and football season collide a little bit. I was at soccer practice and I kicked a ball, skied it over the goal, which is obviously not good for us footy fans, but the football coaches saw it and were like, oh my gosh, can you kick a football? And, ever since then it was history, and it's just been great to be a part of that. And it's really shaped me as a person and a player, so I can't have enough good things to say about Clay High and Clay High football.
So you come out of Clay High School, and you bounce around through a couple different colleges. Can you kind of take me through, your journey throughout the NCAA?
Yeah, so I started out at Mississippi State University. I had the opportunity to enroll early there, so I graduated high school in December of 2017 and spent spring, summer, and fall season at Mississippi State. After the time period there, I decided that...
Look at those pics.
Wow. A child. She was a child. She didn't know anything. She's learning as she went. No, I learned a lot there. And so I was grateful for Georgia State to take me on my sophomore year and came in, just hit the ground running, played a little bit of center back there, a little bit of really found my stride when I went into central midfield role and was able to take some long distance shots that you can see there. That's probably one of my best goals I've ever scored from 40 yards out, hit the bottom of the crossbar, just things you dream about. And then, I got to go to UNF for my MBA, which was great. And it's a great group of girls there. Just a lot of Florida girls there, a lot of girls that have transferred back. So it was just it's a cool journey. And, God put me on it, and we just kind of rode it to the best of our ability, learned a lot of things on the way. Was not easy by any means, but, you get to go to 3 different places, 3 different lifestyles, 3 different groups of people. It's just, that's one of my favorite things about soccer is you get to meet so many amazing people through the game. And so that's kind of been my college journey is I've learned a lot educationally with a little finance degree, a little MBA girl, but really it's meeting all the different girls and different styles that each of those schools played, whether it was over the top direct or trying to get in behind through the wing or whatever it may be.
Was there a moment that you really knew that you wanted to stick with soccer? This is what you were going to go with throughout your early years?
Gosh, that's where we have to shout out my parents because they must have driven me to every sport under the sun. I got to play golf in high school as well. I'm sure you weren't able to dig up one of those pictures. I drove straight from football practice to soccer practice. At the time, Armada also had the ECNL team over at Patton Park, so I was with them for a stint. And I think that's just the one that I always went back to because I loved it so much. So as much as the other sports really helped build my game overall, whether that be through athleticism or hand-eye coordination or whatever it may be, I just really love soccer, with all my heart. I really do. And so it's the passion of the game that kept coming back. And so I always say, people say oh, where'd you play club? And I joke around and say I'm from the YMCA. there's a YMCA right across the house from where I live, and that's really where I started. And there's a team there called the Jedis, which the Force was with us that season. And so ever since then, you make soccer fun when you're young, and then you get to learn the skills and you get to develop the game. And so I don't know. I think the question was, how did I know I love soccer? I don't know. I don't know what about it I love. I just know that there's all these different attributes of the game that I just really appreciate.
I can tell you right now, Stuart Weber's going to love this interview. He loves a little tangent. He loves a random line in there. You drop Star Wars, which is fantastic already. You talk about, always coming back to you, always, coming home. You take that last year at UNF. What made you want to just come back to Jacksonville in general? And then you eventually, step into your role into the girls in blue.
Yeah, I think 904 has got a special place in my heart. I've been in the same house all my life. I love it here. I do. And really, it's the people. I got an opportunity recently to go back to Clay High and coach with my former coach and my mentor. And
I'm not good enough for that. Yeah, I'm not getting the call for Fernandina to do that.
It takes, you got to be around the game longer, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, it was such a great opportunity. And so having that foundation here and just having my parents be at every game, I think that's what's special for me about my time at UNF was that my parents and my grandma and one of my best friends was able to attend almost every single game. And that for me, because it's really about the community that you get. So football is win or lose, ups and downs, but it's really about the people that support you. And so to be able to have that base and have them here was one of the biggest draws of wanting to come home.
Then what? Just to take me into that, then what does it mean to represent your local team? We're talking about especially last year, it was the only thing that was at a high level in Jacksonville in the women's soccer game. Growing up, you didn't really have something to look up to, and we'll talk about it later with some of these younger ECNL girls. But do you think it's there's a couple different questions here. Do you think it's it's helpful to have this U23 team to be able to have this pipeline system?
Short answer is yes. I'll try to stay focused during it. What is my leg doing? You guys couldn't find a better picture.
I'm sorry, that was me. That was me too.
So the thing that's interesting about this is that it is new to the Armada side, but WPSL has been around, and I think that Clay County Soul under Louis Torres and Wale did a great job there, kind of being the conduit of what it could be and what it was during those times. And so I think that growing up, I looked up to the WPSL team that was there. Now Armada's taken it over and wanted to put a little bit more investment into it on the pipeline side to be able to integrate a lot of these younger players into it. And I think that'll reflect a lot in our roster this year. You get to see a lot of these girls from the ECNL side getting to play in matches, getting to train more. And I think it's just the unique thing about the WPSL is that it allows for college players to come back and they all get to, it's a melting pot of a team where we have college players from all over and then that get to come back home. And some international girls this year, but then you get our younger girls that get to learn from them and ask little questions and things you didn't even think about to ask, you get to learn from each other. So yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to have everyone here.
Year one of the Girls in Blue, you pick up a knock in the middle of the season. But what was your biggest takeaway of it all between the season and what was your biggest takeaway being coached under head coach David Goff?
I think, honestly, just meeting Goffey was probably my biggest takeaway. Just having the opportunity to be coached by him through a different lens of the game. He sees things a little bit differently than what I've been taught in my 3 universities time. And just his backing of the players, his confidence, and the ability to have the opportunity to grow, I guess is a better way to put it, because we have a system that we're getting in place, but in order to reach greatness, you have to strive for it, and you're not going to hit it on the first time. And so I think the space that he gives us players throughout practices and throughout games to attempt greatness, and we're going to strike it, of course, but we're also going to fall short a few times. And so his ability to support us through that, I think, is probably my biggest takeaway from last year.
How big of a part was Goffey on you coming back for year 2?
It was huge. Whenever I learned that he was going to be coaching the squad again, I was excited for him and excited for the girls. I think that he has a coaching style that I really appreciate. And so it's not that you find that everywhere. And so I think whenever he spoke about a year 2 with the Armada, I think that was something that I didn't really even bat an eye out. Whenever he said it, I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Well, he's had you play in a couple of different positions. I touched on it at the beginning with your intro, but midfielder, defender, what would you consider yourself, 1? And 2, has it, helped your game in general to play all these different positions?
It has. It's helped my game a lot. I feel like you have these certain skill sets, and so then it's like, okay, where can that best be used? So like, I don't know if you've noticed, but I can win a ball out of the air pretty well, a little taller than most. So it's like, do you want that in your back line? Do you want that in the box to put the ball in the back of the net? Like, where can that be best utilized? I don't know where I would say my best position is. It really depends on the group I'm with. It really depends on the squad. I think this year you might see me more in the midfield than in the back line, but if I pop up back there, don't be surprised.
Well, we've been teasing the fans enough. We might as well drop that squad. Casey, can you throw up that first goalkeeper slide? We'll just touch on some of these girls. We talked about this, a lot younger this year, a lot of hope, a lot of excitement in this team. I know Goffey's really excited because he's gotten to watch these girls grow through the ECNL program, and now he's the director of that program over at JFC. Who really excites you out of these three?
I got to see Ava Galani and my little stint at Episcopal. I also got to coach there, and she is sneaky good. Sneaky good. They're balls that come in.
I saw her in a high school all-star game. She had a great game. Fantastic game.
I'm sure she did. I mean, there were a few games that season. I was able to coach there 2 years ago, and I was like, oh, no, we just conceded. And next thing you know, Ava's hand is tipping it over the crossbar. And I was like, okay. So I'm really excited for her and excited for her next steps with Memphis. I feel like that'll be a exciting opportunity for her.
Yeah, you're going to have to help me out with some of these commitments here as we go through the roster, because I know they're all happening right now. Let's throw up those defenders. A big list, but honestly, some returning names here who are absolutely huge. And a couple that I always mention on the show, or one that I love to mention on the show, Llerandi Bauer. Can you touch specifically on Llerandi Bauer?
I love Llerandi. Llerandi and I have a beautiful 9-year age gap between us. And she is just so... soaks in everything that we're learning. And I don't even know if she notices it, but she's just there. She's happy to learn. She's happy to, take what Goffey says, take what the girls are saying as well. Because like I said, with us having college players and older girls, they're able to kind of put in their input, and she soaks it all in, and then she just plays the game. She just plays the game, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. And, I'm really excited to have her and Bella back there. I feel like the fans are going to be excited to see Bella. I'm excited.
I love a 2-footed tackle from BF.
Wow, don't we all? Don't we all? They scare me a little bit. But she's an absolute unit, and I'm so excited to have her and KO back there to balance out our back line. I know.
It's an awesome pairing on the wings.
Oh, definitely. I know our center backs might look a little different this year. Unfortunately, Billy's still out, but from her ACL last season. But yeah, our outsides are exactly what we had last year, and we're very excited for them.
I know we've only been in practice a couple of days, but Caitlin Seaborn, she's one of those international girls. Mm-hmm. How exciting is it to be able to now last year's internationals were a little bit older. These girls are a little bit younger. They're definitely going to look up to a captain figure like you. How is your approach going to be different from last year's approach with the internationals?
I think it's exciting because they also maybe play a different style of football. So they get to learn what they've done in the past and how that can contribute to what we're trying to do here, but then also learn our style as well. And so I'm really excited because they are, all three of them, and we'll get to the others soon, but all three of them I've had the opportunity to speak to, and they're just a great little group. I'm excited to have them, excited for them to spend time with us over the summer. And from what I've seen on the field, I think the fans are going to be excited to see them too. I'm
going to have to plug last episode just to get this in here. Daniela Diaz from FAU, Sebastian Zettel also from FAU, interviewed him in the last episode. But Daniela Diaz, so far, from what you've seen, what do you think of her?
Oh, I think she's going to be great for us. That's an easy answer. That's a layup for a question. I think she seems solid in the back from what I've been able to see. I think that, with us having to have two different center backs than we did last year, I think Daniela Diaz being able to step up into that role will be very beneficial for us.
All right, let's move on to those midfielders. And another name that pops up a lot, because we do talk a lot of high school soccer on this show, and especially when these teams are making deep runs like Stella Jones did with the Bishop Kenny Crusaders. Once again, a super young player, but just committed to the Naval Academy. Can you speak on Stella Jones?
Gosh, I'm so excited for Stella Jones to be back. I mean, she's probably going to be playing the 6 for us this year, and I think that you're going to see her getting in the weeds, getting into tackles, winning the ball, distributing it for us. And I think I'm constantly impressed with her and Landry, because those are our 2 young returners from last year, to be able to come into a roster and just be able to play your game. So like I said, with Landry, being able to learn what we're trying to do, but then just be yourself, because that's really what we're looking for. And so Stella's going to do great in there, and I'm really excited to play with her again.
Bella Pontieri, someone you played with at UNF and also last year on the squad. How is she? She scored a couple bangers last year. It was actually a couple of those ASUN championship games and in and around there. They were awesome. So I'm excited to see her back on the squad. What excites you about Pontieri?
Oh my gosh, everything. I mean, that left foot will get you excited any day of the week. I was actually at the match where it was at Hodges, and she scored her last-minute goal. And I just remember the whole stadium erupted in chills, and her dad was right behind me. And I turned around, and I just looked at her dad, and he was just crying and freaking out and so happy. And so, gosh, I mean, talk about someone that loves the game. Talk about someone that loves the game. Bella works hard, and, you know, she's got an absolute rocket of a left foot. And so I'm just excited to be with her, too.
Forward list is long, all right? The forward list is long, and it's always good to have fresh legs up top, especially because the WPSL sub rules are a little bit different than a normal game. I have to bring up Sarah the Burner Bruner. I mean, absolute speed on the wing. Reminds me of a Giancarlo Vaccaro on the men's team. An absolute burner down the wing, can get around you at any moment. Just played a fantastic season at USF. Bruner, tell me more about Bruner.
Yeah, I mean, if you blink, you'll miss her, to be honest. You really will. I'm really excited to have her just getting it behind, just serving those balls in the box. I mean, we saw some great goals that she scored, but also some great services. I feel like she can pick anybody out from the wing. So being able to get in behind, beat somebody, and then just serve a ball just on a dime. I know last year there's this one play that I always go back to. She served a great ball off across, and I hit the crossbar on a header. So I'm just excited to recreate that, but actually can finish it this year.
One of the international girls right there, Talitha Hines. We call her Tally, from Northern Ireland. Plays for one of the bigger teams out there, Glentoran. Is a youth international as well. I think she just came into the fray just recently, but so far, have you seen any glimpses that you're really excited about?
You know, Tally's a funny character. I'm excited to see her blossom this season. Yeah, I think she's excited, which is just so cool that she's been able to come over here and be like, this is what we're going to do. I'm excited to get after it. And so she's ready to find the back of the net this season. And so I'm excited to have that first opportunity this Saturday.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up here in just a minute, but I want to ask just a couple personal goal questions. Do you have a personal goal for this season that you really want to achieve by the end of it?
I think for me, my 2 personal goals are on the field, just to become the best player I can be. And what that looks like is, you know, just constant improvement, constant reevaluation of the games and the practices of what standards I'm meeting and what standards I need to be hitting. So there's a couple tangible ones that I won't bore you with in the weeds that we have. But I think one of the personal goals that I have is just to enjoy the game. I think sometimes when we get so hyper focused on reaching a goal, we forget about the journey type of thing, to be more cliche about it. And so I think that for me, it's really just to bring these group of girls together and just have a lot of fun this season. And for us, fun is winning and scoring goals. So that's definitely on the list, but just to enjoy the game and enjoy each other.
I know this was said, I think, at the end of season party last year, but I wanted to be amplified on Fleet and Footy. I think you did a really, really awesome thing with the girls and the squad last year with showing past pictures of what made you fall in love with soccer, if I'm not mistaken. Can you just touch on that before we get going?
Yeah, that was a great opportunity for us to get to know each other. Goffy set the tone by sharing basically a picture of you from childhood, and it's what made you fall in love with the game, or maybe what's something you specifically love about the sport. And so I remember mine as me in a YMCA oversized jersey, and I joked around that I played goalkeeper and I picked flowers, and I was just happy to be there, and I was excited to get chocolate milk after the game, or something so pure about the love of the game, where it's so wholesome, where it's like when you're in your flow state. And I think Goffey spoke on his favorite cleats that he had when he was growing up. And so I think each player had the opportunity to come in and share a picture of what made them fall in love with the game, because what's really fun to watch and fun to be a part of is when a team is passionate and when you can see their passion displayed on the field. And so that's what I hope everyone will get to see this season, is that it's a group of girls that are just passionate about the sport and want to get better and want to become the best version of themselves.
Casey, can you flash up that women's home schedule, that pick 5? The girls play their first home match May 24th at Edward Waters University at Nathaniel Glover Community Field and Stadium. What gets you, it's a little bit different WPSL. We don't really have those supporter bases as big as ours. Does Section 904 really fire you up when you're on that field?
I love the Section 904. Well, they know this. I had no idea who they were before, but then once I've met them, they've lived rent-free in my head for these games. We talk about high school football, where it's like they have that kind of energy. Section 904 has brought that to our home games and brought that to our away games, which I was shocked. Like, when you look over in the stands, you see a flag flying around. Like, that's something that we don't have an opportunity to see a lot, especially in the women's side. The women's side's growing, but obviously it's not where we want it to be quite yet. But Section 904 shows up and shows out. And I just love that they have a community and that their passion inspires our passion too. Just seeing how much they love the crest and how much they have been supporting Armada for years, and them being excited with the creation of the women's team. And I know they're going to show out May 24th. I'm excited to see some familiar faces again, some new people out there. It'll be a lot of fun.
Well, you got the first game coming up in just 2 days, Seminole Ice. That last game last season didn't go the way that you wanted, but Section 904 was there to cheer you guys on. Mm-hmm. What can the fans expect from game 1 away?
Oh, we're getting after it. Last year, it was not what we expected, but this year, we're getting after it. And I hope that they come out to see it again. I know it's another away trip, but their presence makes a difference. And if no one has told you that, I'll tell you that your presence makes a difference. And I'm grateful for it, and it energizes us. And again, your passion inspires my passion. So thanks, guys.
Well, big thank you for joining us in the studio, Liz. You always bring in the energy on the field, off the field. But we've got more Fleet and Footy coming your way right after this, including a deep dive into the men's game that just happened, the win, and of course, your weird soccer story of the week at the end. We'll join you just shortly after this break.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with We Armada rolling off our tongues. Never will we roam, for we know our place is out. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing.
Get local sports on demand with Action Sports Jacks 24/7. All sports, all local, all the time. From the locker room to the field, the Jacks, high school football, the Jacksonville Armada, and don't forget, the Brett and Austin Show. They're all in on Trevor. Of course. Download the Action News Jacks Now app, available wherever you stream or at actionnewsjacks.com. TV, phone, laptop, desktop. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. Jacksonville sports, all the time.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Krasanovich's under-23 men's team. Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season!
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS NEXT teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
This is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, sponsored by a live credit union.
All home games this season, and when I'm talking about all of them, every single home game of your Jacksonville Armada men's and women's U23 teams will be live on actionsportsjax.com and also live every Thursday from 2 to 3. If you're watching it right now, you already know. Fleet and Footy also on the same link. We just had Liz Anne Fogarty join us in studio and drop the WPSL roster. Exciting things as they kick off this weekend away in Seminole, Florida. But right now, joining us from North Carolina, as we're excited to spotlight one of the rising stars making waves in the professional game from the Jacksonville Armada family, it's Mikah Thomas, boy wonder. How are you, Mikah?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Of course, we can hear you, of course.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm enjoying it up here. I'm really enjoying it. I'm missing Armada, though. Really missing Armada, but, I'm enjoying it.
Well, let's dive in once again. I'm going to kind of just take you through the career. You've actually been with the Jacksonville Armada quite a long time, /JFC. We like to associate ourselves with our pro academy there. You actually got coached under head coach Tommy Krasanovic for quite some time, developing there. How was that experience, being able to go through every single one of the ranks with TK?
Man, I think that experience, I loved it. Every step. He taught us. I came in 7th, 8th grade, and that was one of my first coaches, and he really pushed me, and I fell in love with the game, and I fell in love with Jacksonville. Through his coaching and being able to be with him every step of the way, and get the opportunity to play for the U23 team and excel there. I'm blessed.
Well, Tommy made you make that step up really quickly. You joined that U23 squad at a very young age. Can you remind the fans of when you made your first appearance?
Yeah, so I had gone on trial with Austin FC, and that was around 7th grade. And I really just wanted to stay in Jacksonville. So I had the opportunity to play with the U23s, and that is the best decision I've ever made in my life. I really enjoyed it in Jacksonville, and yeah, I'm watching. I'm gonna watch this game on Saturday, but I love it. I love it.
Well, Mikah knows you can watch it right here on the Action Sports Jax app and app on the TV as well. But Mikah, is there anything that really sticks out to you within the U23 regular season? We're going to touch on your U.S. Open Cup goal and appearance a little bit later on. But is there anything specifically about those regular seasons, those long, grueling summers, with guys that come in, they rotate through different guys?
Yeah, the regular season I really enjoy. Every year there would be, new guys, and being able to connect and meet new people and be able to start quick. You train for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and go straight to the first game of the season, and to get a result. And with a new set of guys and building new chemistry, it's something different that I've never really done before. But going every year. You know, there is a different team, and it's great to meet new people. And also see, like, I met Keegan, I met Ethan, and you know, I'm playing them here. I just played them a couple of weeks ago, but it's good to see those faces again.
I'm trying to collect all the MLS Next Pro Armada guys for Fleet and Footy. We're almost there. I think we've almost done it all for MLS Next Pro. I know we've got Tunbridge over in USL League One still, but you're local. You come up in high school, and you end up committing to the University of Connecticut. Can you just take me through why specifically you chose UConn? Obviously, one of the top schools in the nation for soccer, but specifically, why UConn?
You know, I think it was the right fit for me. I think it was crazy. So Tommy and the head coach at UConn, Bondi, they played in the MLS together, and they were actually roommates at one point. So
Wow.
I think that connection, having Tommy and Bondi, having that connection, I think that was really big for me. I'm built on, you know, to having a coach built on trust and relationships, and having that relationship really meant a lot to me. So I think UConn was a perfect fit for me. And, you know, I really enjoyed my 2 seasons there. I grew a lot, and yeah.
Well, you know, you've always been, you've always had a really great head on your shoulders for how young you are. You now make that step up into the pro level. You get drafted by Charlotte FC in the first round. And of course, it's the only year where there's no live stream, no anything. So I'm refreshing, MLS.com, waiting to see Mikah Thomas. And you surprised me with how early you popped up. I mean, look at those picks. I mean, I was just ecstatic when I saw that name go through. What was that feeling like? And you know, what was that, journey like to be able to get to this point?
It's so funny because 3 days before the draft, I had the thought process of going back to spring season with UConn and going for the fall and trying to perform and make the draft for the next year. And 3 days before the draft, I get a call from the head coach, Chris Bondi, and he was like, "Yeah, we have a couple teams interested." And I was really shocked. And yeah, he handed over. I have an agent now. He sent me over an agent, and I was in contact with Charlotte the next day. And yeah, it was a very stressful but exciting process in those 3 days. And I was just like you. I was refreshing my phone too. I had no idea what was going on.
I didn't know that. So you and I were in the same boat. I didn't realize that.
Yes. I'm just sitting on the couch. I'm like, the website wasn't working. I was like, what's going on?
Yep. Yes. You're right.
I get the call, and Charlotte was like, "Yeah, we're gonna jump up. We're gonna trade up, and we're gonna grab you at 9." And right after I got on the phone, you know, just to be there with my mom, my dad, and my sister, that feeling, I'll never forget that.
Well, just before, now you're appearing for that MLS Next Pro team, but you actually did the preseason tour with the first team out in Coachella, California, if I believe. Our MLS Next Pro Academy our MLS Next Academy was just out there, got second place over there to qualify them for GA Cup. But you were out there training with that first team, training with the new signing like Zaha, training with some big boys like Llerandi. I mean, being in and around that culture, that environment, those pro players who have been internationals around the world, just what is that like? And then I want you to specifically tell me what it's like to defend Wilfried Zaha.
I mean, me and Will, we play on different sides, but playing small-sided, it's crazy. It's every kid's dream to, play with players like that. But it's definitely a learning experience. And different players like Tim Ream and Leo, and Lil Abada. It's great to play with those players, and definitely a learning curve. You learn a lot from those guys. Like I had a couple of conversations with Tim and teaching me how to, the positioning defensively, and it's great.
Obviously, you're making appearances for this MLS Next Pro team. I actually got my first opportunity to watch an MLS Next Pro game out at GA Cup in Bradenton, Florida. honestly, I've been watching it over the screen, but seeing it live, the level is super, super high. What's that jump been like from an NPSL to even training with those Charlotte first team guys and those MLS Next Pro games?
Yeah, Next Pro games. They're, really, they're fast. They're physical. You always got to stay on your toes. If you're not focused 1 second, they'll take advantage of that opportunity. And training with the first team over in preseason and really learning in just a short amount of time and jumping into those games, I felt like I was prepared to play, and I think Armada did a great job preparing me to play in the next level. The way they train, they treat the players. I think it's a great step and great. It's a great way to learn and develop to be able to get to the next level.
Well, we got a chat, a question from Derek Gaspin. He wants to know, how was your trash talk between you, Ethan, and Keegan when Chattanooga beat you guys earlier in this season?
Yeah, they didn't start that game, but I'm looking at Keegan on the sideline. I'm making faces, I'm trash talking, but we'll see them a couple more times this season. But we'll definitely get the win next time.
That's awesome. Well, Casey, I feel like we've teased the people with a live reaction of the U.S. Open Cup goal a little bit too long. So can we just run that clip back? And I really want you to talk me through this moment, because I was jumping for joy in the PA booth.
Yeah. So, always playing winger, when you want to make that run across the box when someone's, cut in the back. So that's my first thought process. And I'm so thankful that it came back to me, and I had to go for seconds and to get that goal. My mind went blank, and first thought is section 904. So I ran to them, I celebrated with them, and that was just a moment I'll never forget.
Such an awesome moment. Local, coming through the system, now pro, hugging, guys like Jay Ball, Charles Alondu down there, Jamal Johnson on that team. I want you to talk specifically just about this experience overall, being so young and being thrown into really this makeshift squad we had for only a month.
I think that's the beauty of it, just building a team and getting ready for Open Cup. I think that's what just made it so much more fun. I think Tommy did a great job developing me and getting me ready for this moment. And, I didn't take it for granted. I went out there and, I played the best I could. It's unfortunate I got those 2 red cards, but I really wanted to play that next game. But, I wouldn't change it for the world.
All right, let's get a little bit more serious. But, someone's watching this right now, young kid in Jacksonville, they see a Mikah Thomas, maybe they're from the JFC Academy. What can they do now to maybe get to your level, or maybe to have the right head on their shoulders?
When here, it's all about patience and consistency and confidence. You stay patient. If you really have a vision and don't really want to go pro into the next level, you really have to just be confident in your abilities and continuously to work on what you need to work on and what you need to improve on, but also just stay patient. I didn't play right away with Armada. It took me 3 years to eventually get consistent with my starting spot, but and here, it's just stay patient. A couple of guys here like Pat Azumong, he didn't play the first year here at Crown. Now he's the top goal scorer for Charlotte. So there's a lot of players here who have gone through the ranks with the second team to get up to the first team, and I'm in that position. So to stay patient and continuously just work on yourself and improve.
Well, Mikah, congrats again on your successful career so far. It's been incredible watching your journey from Jacksonville now to the next level. We know it's just the beginning, and the whole Armada family is behind you every step of the way. Thanks again for taking time to join us, Mikah.
Thank you so much, man. Good luck for the rest of the season. I'll be watching. I'll be cheering you guys on from afar. Hopefully, I'll come down soon with one of my breaks and catch a game and see everyone again.
We would love a Mikah Thomas appearance at halftime. Mikah, thanks again for joining Fleet and Footy.
Thank you so much.
All right, from Jacksonville's finest to the present-day squad, let's shift gears and talk about the action that was on the pitch this weekend, because we've honestly teased a little bit of everything on this show. I know people have been wanting to get the content in here about the games, and we're excited to have the content provided to us, produced by Action Sports Jacks, did the filming, the production, everything last match, and it's been fantastic so far working with the crew. Stuart back in the booth. You got to hear Stu's sweet whispers over the radio, over the sound waves. And David Goff hopped in the booth for Jamal Johnson, a last-minute addition there, and honestly was fantastic. Got to promote his girls that play their first matchup this weekend in Seminole. The boys play their next home match, if you missed this one, this weekend, Saturday, 7 p.m. at Edward Waters University at Nathaniel Glover Field and Stadium. You can take a look at the upcoming home matches. You can go on JacksonvilleArmada.com to get your tickets through Sports Illustrated Tickets. Really excited about our new partner, Sports Illustrated Tickets. Club de Leon will be the first time in club history the Fleet will be playing Club de Leon. Obviously coming down from Nisa, so expect some ballers. They had their first game as well on Saturday. They beat FC Florida, also one of the new teams within our conference. So, they're getting their roll on. I know we had our 4-1 win, which we'll take a look at the starting 11 from that matchup. It's so exciting to be back in the season. We're so excited to see some of these new names take the pitch. Obviously, we got some of the old faithfuls, a Giancarlo Vaccaro, a Jeremy Costi who almost kept a clean sheet. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Paul Danner returns to Jacksonville after being at Palm Beach Atlantic. Miles Shanley takes up that center back spot in the back line. Sanko Lesotho had a fantastic game, played a really long time. Xavi Sato was dying for a goal up top, really wanted one. But as we take us through some of the goals here, 4-1, the game got open early with Miles Shanley, scoring the 36th minute. This is actually his second opening goal in the last 2 years. So last year, he also opened up the scoring for the Fleet on their 2024 NWSL season. He's opening up his scoring book and the scoring for the Fleet in 2025. So that's awesome to see a little ESPN stat. Da-na-na. Just minutes later, though, Gustavo Marquez doubled the lead from a cross after Giancarlo Vaccaro cooked his defender. He was 2-0 at that point, still in the first half. The third goal came from Giancarlo Vaccaro in the 45th minute. A little bit of extra time there, right before the stroke of half. Ended up being up 3-0 at the break. Honestly, a dream start. You'll see my interview a little bit later with Tommy Krzanovich on how he thought the game went. But when I was up in the booth watching the game, I thought this was fantastic. It was so nice to see these new players gel together. Coming out of the half, you add one on early through Thiago Berahina with the fourth goal. This is it right here. He cooks his defender right here, sends him wide, the goalkeeper, and then look at that angle. Such a fantastic finish from number 11. Unfortunately, no clean sheet for Jeremy Costi, like I mentioned earlier. In the 88th minute, PSC pulled one back after a Miles Shanley tackle. It was a little light. I won't speak on the refereeing, but, a PK awarded to the visitors. They slotted home. Final score ends up being 4-1. But really a dream start when, considering these guys are just getting back together, a lot of new guys, and some really exciting debuts. I think you'll see even more guys come off the bench this year to have that rotation, to have those fresh legs. These Florida summers are so hot, especially when you play on these turf fields. But some great celebrations as well. But shout out to Lexi Ray Photography for getting these snaps. But Edward Waters has been a fantastic host so far this season. Section 904, bringing the smoke. I actually know that you guys were annoying that away team bench from the chatter that I heard. So keep on the smoke. I love smelling it. I love seeing it. And so I know we were excited with the result up in the booth. You'll see Stuart back in the booth there next Saturday if you don't come out to the game right here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. But do come out to the game. Please come out to the game. It's always exciting. We have merchandise available. We have blow-ups, 10. I know Section 904 has their own little tailgate. I think you got to donate $5 for a glizzy. So a glizzy and a keg doesn't sound too bad. We also have Ancla Dorada available for sale on site in the stadium, or the Jacksonville Armada's official beer. So it's a lot of fun. I know we're going to get a even bigger crowd because it's a Saturday this weekend. So everyone show out. And I'm just seeing right now in the chat, penalty call was, a little bit, wayward. But Section 904 brought the energy. I know the boys were excited. And some of those new guys, I actually heard them singing the Section 904 chants in the locker room this week. So keep it up, Section 904. Get those new guys inundated and going. When we come, we'll actually throw it to my interview on the field with Tommy Krasanovic post-game. Head coach of the U23 squad, Tommy Krasanovic. Tommy, some rain out there. Do you think that affected the play at all?
Yeah, we were prepared for delays. We were prepared physically, but the bit of rain that did come down accelerated a bit of the ball on the pitch and made it a little bit more difficult to play, but not necessarily an issue that we weren't prepared for. So.
Some new guys scoring tonight on the pitch. Is there anyone that really excited you that you maybe didn't expect to step up?
No, we felt the boys met their objectives. We felt everyone really stepped to the occasion. We made a lot of substitutions, which we probably wouldn't have done. But because the scoreline, because this is the first game and we need to manage some of the workloads, we felt like we needed to. Of course, the game changed a little bit, but it also allowed us to see some things that we want to improve and continue improving.
We obviously know this is not the complete squad, so what can fans be expecting after a 4-1 win?
The staff's pleased. The players obviously are pleased. I think what we're going to take away from here is we only met for a week so far, and the things have gone well in as far as objectives we wanted to meet. But what's really standing out is the cohesion of the group, the togetherness, and that's something that we are going to harp on a little bit more, try to get them into environments a little bit more to be together and improve those things as well.
Join live. Well, winning here in Jacksonville were the boys in blue, and winning up in Boyd's, Maryland were the young boys in blue as they beat Barcelona Residency Academy 3-2 up in Maryland Sportsplex. They had a fantastic run up there in MLS Next Flex, a fantastic tournament that once again they qualified for based on their regular season results. So always have to shout out the MLS Next Academy. They've been such a big part of the show throughout the year. Here's a little bit of the highlights. It's a fantastic Selly from Bamanzi Alabarujo. Scored a fantastic goal. Ryan Paul nets one as well off of a fantastic little shot cross here. He's just as surprised as you are that ball went in. But another congratulations to those guys. One of the last big things of the season. The last thing that they can possibly qualify for is playoffs up in Nashville, Tennessee. So be on the lookout to see if they end up qualifying for that. But when we come back from this short break, we'll take a look at the U.S. Open Cup. Got to touch on that before those matches get started up this week. We'll talk a little bit about MLS because the games happened just night. This match week, pseudo 13 in the middle of the week. You'll also have some games this weekend as it's rivalry weekend in MLS. And we'll, of course, touch on everyone's favorite, topic, the weird soccer story of the week. Don't forget to watch the Jacksonville Armada men's and women's team all season long on the Action Sports Jacks Network. And if you can join us in stadium, please do at Edward Waters University.
Ancla Dorada. The official bear of your Jacksonville Armada.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7. People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
This is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, sponsored by Alive Credit Union.
Welcome back to Fleet and Footy, presented by Alive Credit Union. Big thanks again to Liz Anne Fogarty for joining us in the studio, as well as Mikah Thomas from calling in from North Carolina. It's always great catching up with a former player. Let's shift our focus now to U.S. Open Cup, one of the most exciting competitions, I think, in American sports. Maybe a little bit less exciting because we don't have, those big cup sets that maybe we wanted. But honestly, some really interesting matchups here, especially on how some of these teams' MLS regular seasons are going. We just talked to Mikah Thomas, as you can see there, on May 21st. DC United takes on Charlotte FC. Two really good squads. DC United has been struggling recently, and Charlotte just picked up a loss over Wednesday. I was going to say the weekend, but it just happened. Stayed up and watched those games last night. We'll touch on that a little bit more. Chicago Fire, who have been linked to Kevin De Bruyne if he doesn't go to Napoli, take on New England Revolution. It's been interesting to see that Revolution team. They've been gutted throughout the offseason, but they've stepped up all right in the Eastern Conference. San Jose gets a draw against Inter Miami last night. They go on to take they go on to take Portland Timbers on, who's going to be a very tough opponent. And honestly, one of my games to circle here, I'm waiting for that Philly-Pittsburgh game. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. But this Orlando-Nashville game is going to be interesting. Orlando's been really hot recently. Luis Muriel scoring, finally maybe back to his scoring ways. 6 goals and 3 assists so far this season after an absolute bust of a 2024. But of course, the game of the round of 16's got to be Philly Union versus the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It'll be on the river, but in Philadelphia. Obviously, the only non-MLS team left in the competition. I think another cool angle of this is Kevin Sullivan. Kevin Sullivan came on last night as well for the Philadelphia Union, but we'll definitely get some more minutes in this U.S. Open Cup matchup. So a couple cool storylines to look across. You got Minnesota United and St. Louis, old NASL team in Minnesota. But, I'll keep my eyes peeled this weekend. I might have my Octo screen up because I'll be able to get all these games on my wide monitor. But it's been fun to watch this tournament progress, and we'll touch on my MLS takeaways because I kind of had to throw this together because I didn't realize that we had MLS games last night until really, really late. And I sat on my couch, watched these games, and, number one's got to be Brian White. This guy is insane. He scores goals for fun. 2 shots, 2 goals for Brian White and the Vancouver Whitecaps has been absolutely insane. Since he star shined, Kevin Denke and Evander have been insane for Cincy. It's finally clicking. Now top of the East. Mascherano out is number 3. Mascherano has been making some questionable decisions, let's say. So questionable that you got Lionel Messi looking over him at the sideline. Like, what's going on? What's going on here? Some questionable starts, some questionable substitution decisions. Their fan base is very angry right now, wanting Mascherano out. Obviously, a newer fan base, so not a lot of, guys within MLS. Number 4, I kind of mentioned it earlier, are Orlando playoff contenders. When I say this, they're probably going to make the playoffs, but are they going to make a deep run in the playoffs like I envisioned that they would last year after all their signings? It'll be interesting to see. Before I touch on Los Angeles, Montreal once again get away with 1 point. Only have 1 win on the season, but who has no wins on the season is Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Galaxy still have not won a game, and I had to bring this up. They go up 2-0 before the half. They are up 2-0 at the half. Marco Reus gets 2 assists, and Philadelphia, the Union, come out of the break, scored 2 quick goals. Ty Baribo, who right now is number 1 at the MLS Golden Boot race, is just scoring for fun as well. But they pull it back all the way up 2-2, all the way up until the 98th minute, and goal Lasso, Philly Union. The Galaxy lose once again. So it feels like a carousel with them. I'm going to be so intrigued to see whether they fire Greg Vanney or not. You got to give the guy some of a leash because he did win the MLS Cup last year. I don't think any MLS coach has gotten fired the year after or the season after during the season of MLS Cup. So will definitely be interesting to keep your eyes on. Now it's our time to get in to everyone's favorite segment of Fleet and Footy, my favorite segment of Fleet and Footy, Stuart's favorite segment of Fleet and Footy, Little Piper segment, favorite segment of Fleet and Footy. It's the weird soccer story of the week. Now, this story doesn't necessarily come to us out of a particular country. I guess you could say Spain, but here on your screen now, meet Darwin Maquis. He's currently known as the world's unluckiest footballer. So in 2022, he got relegated from La Liga with Granada. 2023, he joins Valladolid, gets relegated from La Liga. 2024, joins Cadiz on loan and is relegated from La Liga again. And in 2025, returns from his loan from Cadiz back to Valladolid and is relegated again in 2025. I feel like I had to bring this one up. It's been, a crazy roller coaster of a career for him. I've never seen anything like that. Such an unlucky guy. But if you're lucky enough Saturday to come watch the Armada at Edward Waters University, please come out. And if you're unlucky, join us right here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, where this game will be live streamed. Thank you all again for joining me on Fleet and Footy. And join us back here Saturday night for the Armada's home match versus Club de Leon.